Hello, and welcome to the third section of the Go Projects video course. In this section, we'll create a dashboard for our content management system. Our content management system is a web application that will allow us to create web pages, write blog posts, and eventually we'll let visitors comment on blog posts, if you choose to extend it on your own. We'll start by looking at the HTML/template package, which you use for rendering HTML from a template. Next, we'll look at the net HTTP package to handle HTTP requests. We'll also cover connecting to a database, as well as writing to and reading from that database, and use that database to power our content management system. The last thing we'll cover is how to test an application written in Go. In the first video of this section, we'll cover how to render dynamic content with Go. Before we dig into that, however, we're going to change how we've been structuring our code. So far, we've only been creating a single main.go file. While that works for small projects, it definitely doesn't work for large projects or libraries. Starting now, we're going to write our code in the typical package style. Instead of trying to explain that right now, let's just dive in and learn on the way. So, create a new directory within Go projects called CMS. Once inside that directory, create a file named template.go and create two other directories called templates and CMD, which stands for command. Templates will hold our HTML templates, and CMD will contain our executable code. That is our main.go file. Our main.go file imports our package and uses the functions defined in that package. This is done to allow us to reuse more of our code. Let's take a look at how to do that. Open template.go in your text editor of choice. This time, instead of naming our package main, we'll name our package CMS, the same as the name of our directory. Continue by importing the package we're going to use, which is the HTML template library. The HTML template package gives us access to a ton of functions for dealing with HTML templates. For now, we're just going to use these two. Template.must is just a utility for template initialization, and template.parseglob parses and reads all the templates from a directory and loads them into memory when our application starts. This is very useful, since you definitely don't want to read a template from a file every time you need to render a template. You might have noticed the TMPL here is capitalized. This is actually really important. Only capitalized types and functions will be exported by our package. Exported means available outside this package. If someone else imports this package, they could access the TMPL variable as cms.tmpl. If this weren't exported, it would only be available inside the CMS package, so you couldn't call cms.tmpl if it were lowercase. Another new concept here is Go's struct. A struct is just a type that contains named fields. In this case, we have two, a title and some content. This struct is used to hold the content for our HTML page. Speaking of our HTML page, let's very quickly create it. Create a file named index.tmpl. The extension tmpl is just used to let your text editor know that you're creating a Go HTML template. You can use any file type that you want. If you're on Atom or Sublime Text, you might want to use .go HTML, since that's the file type that they expect for Go HTML templates. The define block here is used to specify the template name. The .title and .content are used to access the values of our struct that will pass into our template, and just specifies the end of our template. Let's save and quit that file and create our main Go file. Go into the CMD directory, create a new file called main.go, and open it in your text editor. Since this file is executable, we're going to give it the package name main, like we've done before. The next thing we're going to do is import the library we just created. The exported functions and types are now accessible within our main package. Create a new page struct and assign values to each field. See that ampersand? When we use an ampersand, we create a reference to an instance of cms.page. If you've never worked with a language that uses pointers, this might be a good time to check out the Go documentation. Basically though, using a reference just allows us to modify the value of each of those fields when needed. In general, you'll want a reference when working with structs in Go. The next thing we're going to do is fill our template with the data from our struct, and write that rendered template to the console. The first argument is where to write the template to, which in our case is os.standardout. The next argument is our template name, which if you remember, was index. The last argument is the data we want to pass to the template. In our case, we're going to pass our page struct, which we named p. That's it. To execute our code, you can just do the usual go run main.go. You'll see that this prints our rendered HTML template to the console because we are writing our HTTP response to os.standardout, which of course is the console. If you got an error message here at any point about not being able to find Go project/CMS, you probably need to run go install from the root of the CMS directory. Most text editors with Go plugins will do this for you automatically, so you probably don't need to worry about it. In this video, we learned how to create a Go library, read an HTML template, fill that template with some data, and render it. In the next video, we'll take what we've learned here and use it to create a real web application, a simple content management system.